Welcome back to Cards and Comics. Today I'm going to be talking about marketing. Specifically, the marketing around sports cards that Fanatics is talking about. They're talking about growing the hobby, 10x in the hobby, and the magic bullet they're going to use is marketing. And will that work? Well, I'm going to tell you, short and sweet, no. Marketing alone in today's economy, today's consumers, doesn't work the way it used to. Does marketing do some things? Yes. Awareness, possibly. Does it create, let's say, some understanding of what product offers, what a product offers, the benefits? Sure. However, I'll go through some caveats on why I don't think the Fanatics marketing is going to work. Now, my background is I'm a product developer and a food safety expert. But I spent 20 plus years working with marketing teams, creating products that they would want to sell. So you have to understand the consumers, the need states that you're fulfilling, what your problems you're trying to solve, reasons to believe, buzzwords from marketing teams. Now, the Fanatics team is new. And so generally when something in a company happens where a new team is brought in or a new company is now in charge, the first thing you do is you blame all the past mistakes on the old marketing team. And you throw shovelfuls of dirt on that team and blame everything on them that was ever bad. And I'm seeing that sort of pan out right now with what's going on with Fanatics and how they're talking about marketing. They're claiming crazy things like the hobby's never had any marketing. That's just blatantly false. And I'll show you in a second that that's just not true. Secondly is there is really no plan that they put forth that would lead me to believe that they've got an integrated marketing plan that would move the needle. And secondly is no one's really asked them really tough questions about how they're going to do marketing. So, again, sitting in with marketing teams for 20 plus years, understanding what we have to do to get a product on the market and to sell it, I would be asking questions like, okay, what percent of NSV are you going to spend on marketing? What does your P&L look like? How much marketing spend are you going to have? And are you going to overspend on marketing relative to net sales? Rule of thumb, a lot of companies will spend 10% of net sales on marketing. Okay. Are you going to spend 20, 30% of net sales? Now, some companies spend it on profit. So let's say you make $10 million a year, $1 million on marketing, right? A lot of companies have different metrics. It just depends on what category you're in and what is normal for that category. Yeah, you also have to understand that marketing has a lot of things built into it. Getting product on retail shelves requires marketing dollars that you would consider to be non-working. So you got working dollars and non-working. Working dollars could be paying slotting fees, paying your brokers to get the product on the shelf. So, and a lot of times that comes out of marketing dollars. So again, how does the marketing dollar get split up between working and non-working? So I don't know. That question's never been asked. We don't know how much is going to be spent. We don't know what percentage of NSV or profit that they're going to spend on marketing. We don't even know how much of it's going to be working versus non-working. So it's just really just kind of a big mystery, in terms of real plans. But let's get into what some of the things that people have said. So we'll get into the Jeff video, sports card investor, and what the interview says here.
This business has never been marketed. There's never been any marketing in this business. Okay? There's never been any more product innovation. I am telling you right now, to every collector out there, the 12-month cycle we're in right now, we will do more for this industry that's been done in the last 7 years. And by the way, I'm not...
So, so there's the first blatantly false statement. There's never been any marketing. Well, it's not true. I mean, you can just search Topps commercials and find marketing campaigns from 7 years ago, 2 years ago. Just scroll down and you'll see more and more commercials. There's all kinds of commercials that Topps has done to try to market the hobby. And it's not just Topps, Fleer, Upper Deck. Everybody has done some marketing at some point. So the idea the hobby's never been marketed is just blatantly false. So just from that standpoint alone, that statement just doesn't make any sense. But it's that people will go to great lengths to make a point, and I think they're just going above and beyond what is a normal point. Being very bold in their statements to try to get people's attention. Okay, well, if you go into David Lerner, who is the head of Topps for Fanatics, and he talks about it on the Sports Cards Nonsense podcast. Here's what he said about marketing. So we'll just go from this, and then we'll talk about why I don't think this is going to work.
Well, yeah. So I mean, let's take Series 1. I mean, this is the first time we put together a real, truly, fully integrated marketing campaign, right?
All right. So I just talked about integrated marketing. So let's talk about that term for a second. Integrated marketing. So this means that you're going to put a plan that's going to have social media. You're going to have, advertising, the other types of media. You're going to have your media plan. You're going to have your, your influencer plans. You're going to have your online, e-commerce plans. You're going to have a lot of different types of marketing plans for different products, for different categories of media. So again, that's an integrated marketing plan, right? We don't know what that is. We don't know the split. We don't know anything about it to judge to be whether or not it's going to be effective. But we'll keep going. But it just, the terms that they're going to be using here, to me, again, show that they're talking about this in a very generic way. And in some cases, it doesn't really mean a lot, is what I'm going to get at here.
We went out there. We did a deal, giant deal with Julio Rodriguez, one of the hottest players in Major League Baseball, right?
All right. So another thing, too. So here is, they spend a lot of time in this interview talking about, Julio Rodriguez. That this one player that's going to, save the hobby. Well, this one player has existed forever. Ken Griffey Jr., Mike Trout, you've got Cal Ripken. You've got players through the history. Buster Posey in one of the ads I just showed. Every year, or that they've been around sports cards, there's this one player, top spokesman, whoever it is, that's going to be this player that's going to make people want to collect and get into the hobby. And it's not going to work. I'm just going to tell you that type of marketing just doesn't work anymore. Influencer marketing is kind of dead. And if you really look at what companies are doing today, they're not paying like they did before for influencers to talk about their product. And if you think about it, Julio Rodriguez is someone, it's like a paid spokesperson. That just that's not how marketing today really reaches other people, because you have to know who he is to begin with. And I think that they're really overly putting their eggs in this basket of Julio Rodriguez, who we all know players can have bad years. Players can get hurt. So to me, it's like a big risk to make a lot of your ad campaigns around one player.
AL Rookie of the Year. This guy's got all the upside in the world. And on top of that, he's just an awesome dude. So There's not a better guy to go out there and work with. We've been in this a long time. We have to balance the new school, the old school. So we want to stay true and attract and retain all of our hardcore folks out there. These are.
So again, this doesn't make a lot of sense. So it's like we want to keep our old school people and we want to appeal to new people. But I don't know how advertising would make people not want to collect a product after they're, let's say, already in. They've already committed that they're a collector. They buy your product anyway. What could you do in marketing that would make them not want to buy your product anymore? There's some answers to that question. Sure, you could bring in some really controversial figure in. You could get political. You could do a lot of things that would be bad, right? I don't think they really mean this. I really think that they view collectors of vintage, and it's like people who don't even get on the computer anymore. Like they're buying cards only at card shows, and it's like he's talking about the hobbyists. Like you've got one set of hobbyists who don't even open the computer, and another set of hobbyists who like are sneakerheads, and they're only looking for drops and apps to buy off of, and they don't ever want to visit a sports card store, and all their advertising is going to be directed to them. It just feels weird the way he's talking about it, because in reality, an integrated marketing plan would include, point of purchase advertising to get the collectors who already are in. And again, there's a big, one of the big shifts in advertising and spending is loyalty programs, right? A lot of people don't believe in loyalty programs anymore because they believe it's advertising to your base. Basically, people who already buy your product, you're giving them a part of your marketing spend to get them to spend a little bit more versus getting new people to come in. So loyalty programs are like what I call at the center of a lot of marketing controversy in today's, how we think about modern marketing, right? And so is he talking about loyalty programs? Is he talking about point of purchase advertising? I don't know, but it sounds weird the way he phrases it.
Folks that they were around before this latest boom. They might have been around at the last boom that then went bust, and obviously we don't want junk wax era 2.0. We don't want a bust.
Again, advertising has nothing to do with the junk wax era. It was too much product. So again, this is the problem I'm having with Fanatics and people talking about advertising. It's that they don't seem to be able to focus on advertising. It's like, we don't want to have junk wax era 2.0. Well, that's a distribution and production issue. It's not a marketing issue. Okay? I don't get why they keep, bringing up things like junk wax or overproduction or quality control issues. That has nothing to do with marketing.
So we're very mindful of all that, but at the end of the day, we need to attract new. We need to continue to just bring new folks into the hobby, younger folks into the hobby, and for all the collectors out there, the hardcores, the guys, the loyalists, like this only helps us all. If more people come in to this hobby, all boats rise.
So again, it's like I hear this as an appeal to the old collectors to be like, don't get turned off by what we do, because our marketing is not going to be aimed at you. Okay, we're not going to give you guys what you want in a way that you're used to getting it, but hang in there because all these new collectors are going to make your old cards worth more money. That's a weird way of going about marketing, honestly. Because you would want to advertise the product on its own merits. And, Fanatics are coming at this like, they are creating something from scratch. Like, there's never been advertising in sports cards. We're going to create how to do it. And therefore, anyone who is in the hobby before this may get, offended by how we're going to advertise, which is weird. So again,
vintage will go up. Modern will go up. So it's not a bad thing. I mean, some folks don't want to embrace technology. Some folks don't want this and don't want that. And they're quite vocal in the hobby. I mean, I'm mostly a traditionist as well. But like in our business, there's the business end of this and there's the hobby. And we need to ensure, for future generations that we make this stuff fun and cool and interesting. So coming back to the J-Rod show, we have like kind of the cooking spoof.
Yeah. So again, I'm going back, and this appeal to the old school collectors it's indicating something's coming down the pike that they may not like. And again, he talks about the J-Rod cooking show. Again, a lot with J-Rod. And the one thing I don't like about this, right? And, and we'll get into, some of the reasons, more concrete reasons, but right off the bat. And again, they're not talking about product attributes very much. They're not talking about the cards are going to be so cool and so collectible and everybody's going to want them. It's just like, hey, look, we got J-Rod. Hey, we got, we're doing a cooking show. We're doing some funny stuff. Look at us, like that'll make people want to collect, right? that doesn't really, to me, inspire a lot of confidence that they've got a really good handle on how to really grow the business through marketing.
Just wait till there's more coming, but like, it's awesome. And not only are we marketing here at the launch that was yesterday, you saw the buzz, everything on social. The campaign is going to continue here for several weeks leading up to opening day. So we're, a lot of folks, all of us, right, we're sitting here at the edge of our seat waiting for Feb 15, but a lot of folks still have no clue Series 1 came out yet, right? And
well, all right. That was the first another indicator that. So he just talked about how excited his marketing team is. They spend a lot of effort and time getting top Series 1 marketed and advertised. Then he just admits that a lot of people don't know it's out yet. That's bad. If you're a marketer and your job is to drive awareness, and then you're saying, well, a lot of people don't even know Tops is even out yet, then that just shows that you haven't done a great job marketing. And so I don't know what their metrics are. And I think this is another thing we need to really look at is what's their measurement for success on marketing, right? So again, there's a return on investment in marketing, right? How are they measuring success for marketing? Has anyone even asked them that? Like, what's your success? Like, what's your return on investment? Are you going to grow your top line, bottom line? Is that what you're after? Are you going to look for distribution points, new avenues of distribution? What are total distribution points? Are you going to look at new collectors? Are you going to try to measure, collecting consumption? People buying more product that that were buying last year. Now they're buying more. So the marketing's working. We're getting consumption of them up. I mean, it's just what's the goal here? What's the metrics? And I don't see any of that in any of the videos I've seen from anyone in this hobby. And to me, this is probably one of the better interviews because they actually ask a few really good questions in this interview, and you can hear that you don't really get straight answers. I don't know if it's because they don't want to share their plan other than just we have J-Rod and and we love him and he's cool. We want people just to be like, hey, look, we got J-Rod and we got some social media stuff, which is what it sounds like.
Continue marketing and exciting folks and going out to different, podcasts and different news sources and news outlets and influencers and continue to push and promote this.
Again, going out to influencers and podcasters, you're just selling to the people that already want your product. You're not really growing your brand by going to influencers and podcasters. And I would even say, having people post on Instagrams and, you're just talking to yourself and to the hobby collectively that already is buying or is aware. So again, how are they breaking this out into some new avenues that isn't people already in the hobby? So let's listen to see if they say anything about that.
So David, I'm curious, where does that commercial so anything with the Chef J-Rod or whatever else he's going to be doing, where does that air besides social media? Because my thought is the guys who are interested in the product, they probably already know to watch your social medias. I was thinking the marketing push would be more directed at new people who don't know anything about it. So I was just curious, like, is this actually on, football or I'm sorry, baseball games or anything like that in the future?
Yeah, so I mean, we've cut this content, a bunch of different ways to deploy at specific times on different channels. Social is how it's been coming out thus far, and we share it as broadly as we can. But you're right. I mean, a lot of the folks already on our channels know about trading cards.
Okay, again, they're admitting that, yep, everything we've done so far is on social. We're not really reaching out to anyone that's probably new. But it's coming. You're going to see it. We don't know where it's coming, but it's coming, right? That's generally the attitude that they're having in this whole process is we got this cool marketing plan and we're going to do it 10x the hobby, but we don't know where it's coming yet. And I'll talk about what, and again, this Jesse has a good question and, ask the right question. How are you going to grow the hobby? Now he mentions media and the assumption he's talking about here is TV. And It's been proven for a lot of years that TV is one of the worst investments for marketers. It's super expensive. So the creative, the working dollars is, just tremendously high. And the ROI usually is very low because, again, you're trying to figure out where you're going to advertise, when you're going to advertise, how much you're going to pay. And again, what's happened to TV, it's bifurcated. You've got tons and tons of channels, not just cable. I'm talking about services, Netflix, Hulu, Apple, all these different streaming devices that a lot of people have cut their cable. They don't even have like standard cable and regular TV anymore. So the audience to try to, this isn't 1950s where you got, 5 channels and that's it. You advertise across, 2 channels and you're gaining like half the nation's audience. This is complicated stuff, guys. Trying to figure out where your audience is, what audience you're trying to reach, what channel you should be on, the cost of each of those channels. It's very difficult. That's why a lot of people have gotten away from advertising on TV and doing more, very targeted advertising to that group in different ways, on social, which he talks about. But again, you have to target new people. You can't just go on podcast or go on someone's Instagram account that's already in the hobby. You have to figure out some other way. So let's listen to see if they have any other way to advertise the hobby.
About Series 1. But I think you could also see, we've been nearly 100 athletes that are featured in Series 1 have also been posting their card to their following.
Okay. 100 athletes posting their cards on their Instagrams. And again, that might reach a few extra people. How are you going to measure it? How are you going to see if this is a good investment? I don't know. How are you going to convert that into dollars? How are you going to convert that into profit? I don't know. It just seems like they're sitting around like spitballing ideas on how to try to look like they're advertising, right? This is, again, I think this is what I think people who don't have an advertising plan do to make it look like they really have a plan. We're doing a lot of stuff, guys. It's coming. The media is coming. We're doing a lot of stuff. Look at these 100 Instagram posts that's been out there. We're doing a lot. And really, again, how are they measuring success? What's the ROI? And this isn't going to move the needle because they're still talking to people, for the most part, that are already in. This is not, and again, this might get them some extra views, but man, it doesn't seem like it's very well defined on what the plan is to try to grow.
Derek Jeter posted for us, right? He's got a giant, group of folks. Mike Trout posted to his following. Nearly every single rookie featured in the product is promoting it to their following. So when you look at who's, tops on our social, right, we're really pushing to kind of a lot of existing users. But the next group that we really feel we could attract and convert into hobbyists are sports fans, right? So if you go...
Yeah, sports fans. So that's, So we're advertising right now to people we know buy cards. But, and those Mike Trout and Derek Jeter Instagram guys, they're sports fans. So they're going to grow the hobby because, again, they don't know sports cards exist because there's never been a marketing plan ever in the history of the hobby. So they think sports cards are dead, so they'll magically start collecting sports cards because X, right? So that's another thing is, why are they going to collect the cards? Why? I think that is the question, right? Why does someone who likes baseball, who's never collected in their life, going to see a Topps advertisement and then suddenly go back and collect cards? If they've never done it, they don't have any nostalgia for it, right? So I think that's the piece where I'm missing is, what's the reason, what's the benefits that they're going to advertise, why someone should start collecting, right? And I don't think we get any of that in any of the interviews I've listened to so far.
Do your little concentric circles. You got all the hardcore, all of us that have been living and breathing Topps for years and years and no trading cards, but the sports fan, And what's really exciting about that too is we're leveraging Fanatics. I mean, this is one of the great things about Topps now being a part of Fanatics versus being independent. We're part of the broader mothership of Fanatics. So I'm sure you've heard Michael Rubin tout. Fanatics has over 90 million fans in its database.
Yeah. So again, and it goes on from here. They never really get into it. They just talk a lot more about distribution and Fanatics and leveraging the 90 million people in the database. That's going to grow the hobby because they'll be aware of cards now and just like osmotically purchase more sports cards with their hats and their jerseys and their scarves or whatever they're buying at Fanatics. They're going to just say, hey, there's sports cards, I'm going to buy them. And he mentioned things like, well, we just sold out on jumbos, and yeah, because it's the sports cards guys going on your because they're cheaper than probably at the distributor, so they're buying the product directly because that's a good business model. And buying direct is definitely going to happen. So again, it's just so crazy. So, what I want to just kind of, bring it all back and just say, look, this doesn't seem like it's very well thought through. They don't talk anything about real marketing dollars. They don't talk about how they're going to really grow. They don't talk about reasons why someone would want to collect cards that's never done it before. They don't have a real integrated marketing plan. I would love to sit down with these guys and talk about, what does your brand book say, about your products? What's the reason people buy Bowman? What's the reason people buy Topps? What's the reason people buy Transcendent? What's the reason, what's your brand books look like? What is your marketing, your research tell you about those brands and why people like them? What's great about them and how that could appeal to people who don't currently buy cards, right? These are the reasons people buy cards. These are the reasons people convert from non-card buyers to card buyers. Like, that is something that they could share of what their actual plan is. But when they talk about their plan right now is just to market to the standard way that everyone else has done for generations in the hobby, which is through the channels that everyone else has done prior. There's nothing really new here. There's nothing here that would say to me is that they're being innovative. They're being outside the box thinkers. They understand the reasons to believe the innovation that's going to drive people to buy the cards because it's solving some need or it's creating some reason for them to purchase. So again, without any of that and without a real plan and without any way to really measure success, I don't feel like they've got any sort of hope to really grow the hobby through this alone. The best way to grow the hobby right now has always been and continues to be if some player gets tremendously hot and his cards go up tremendously in value, then people will go out and buy more of a product trying to find that player, right? We saw it with Steven Strasburg. We saw it with Bryce Harper. We saw it with Mike Trout. I mean, on and on. A really hot player grows the hobby a lot faster than any marketing plan ever will. So that's my take. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, and I'll see you next time on Cards and Comics. Bye.